What's up, YouTube? Today's video is all about the Glock 19 Gen 5. Now, I believe this is the best first handgun you can purchase. So for all the newbies out there, these are my top 5 reasons why you should consider purchasing a Glock 19 Gen 5 for your first handgun. And for anybody that already has guns but doesn't have a 19, maybe this will also convince you to pick one up. All right, let's get into it. So the first reason I have is user-friendly. Now, all Glocks are relatively user-friendly. They have very minimal controls, and that's why I love them, because they don't overcomplicate things. Everything is, you can pick up this gun first day, and by the end of the day, you know the in and outs of this whole thing. You know how to use it. So let's talk about them. You have a mag drop right here. It's actually quite big, which is really nice. Fits the hands really good. And this Glock is also ambidextrous, so you can, the magazine drop can also be rotated to the other side if you're left-handed. And the slide catch and release is also on both sides. So ambidextrous again. You have your takedown lever here. You have rear sights, front sights. See if I can get that focused in. There you go. You also have your little push pins here for a beaver tail if you got bigger hands, you know. You also have a small flared magwell. I don't know if you can really see that, but it is definitely flared out just a little bit. And that just helps with in and out. So I don't know if you can tell, but there is no safety or outside safety on this gun. They're all internal except for the trigger. Obviously, that's the first one. Now this is an aftermarket trigger, but it's the same. It works the same way as a stock Glock trigger. That little red thing right there, that has to compress for the trigger to move anywhere for the gun to fire. That has to be compressed. There's also a drop safety and a firing pin safety. So although there is no manual safety, this gun still has safeties. So for my number 2, I have low recoil. Now the 19 is a medium-sized frame, so it handles that recoil a lot better than, let's say, a 9mm out of a Glock 43. You know, any of those subcompact ones. The medium frame helps a lot more with that recoil. For beginners especially, I've heard a lot of people say that they can manage the recoil a lot better with a 19 or a bigger frame than a smaller one. Also, if you're thinking about getting something like 45, for example, or a 10mm, I would advise against it, especially for if that's going to be your first handgun. I would get 9mm. I really would. 22, they're fun, they're easy to learn with, but I think 9mm is more practical, and you can learn with 9mm, but you can also use 9mm, if that makes sense. You know, I don't see too many people concealed carrying 22. You can, but it's just not that popular, you know. The 9mm is just something that you can practice with, you can train with, it will help you, and you can also use it for other circumstances. So yeah, so for my number 3, I have size. Now, I think that the 19 has a perfect size. It's a mid frame, as I said in number 2. But so compared to a subcompact, it's definitely a little smaller than this. You also have larger ones like a full size 17, for instance, or a 19X has a full frame. The medium is a lot more handleable, a lot more manageable, I would say, than some of the bigger ones or some of the smaller ones. I just think this is a great starting point. For me, because this was my first Glock I ever got, and for me personally, it was a great starting point. This really got me familiar with just how to hold a firearm and how to handle one. I think the size really has a lot to do with that. Number 4, and possibly my favorite reason, is customization. Now, Glocks are notorious for being customizable. I mean, every manufacturer out there that makes anything from flashlights to frames, slides, barrels, red dots, anything, they always have an option for a Glock 19. They just do. And that makes it very fun to me because you can start with a stock Glock, but as you work up and as you build and get better, you can always add things to this, and that's why I love it. You can always change. You can change whatever you want about this gun, and that's what I think is so awesome about it. So what I've done to mine so far is I have a threaded barrel. I have a Glock Tactical Light 2 on here. I have a Timney trigger. And other than that, other than like some mags, other than that, I haven't really done much to it, but I would like to get it milled in the future. Also, pro tip, if you are going to get a 19, I highly suggest getting an MOS. I've learned from my mistakes now. Every time I buy a new pistol, I always get MOS, but just make sure you do that. Even if you don't want, even if in the moment you're like, I do not want a red dot, I don't think I'll ever want a red dot, just get it. Just get the MOS because it'll save you so much time, so much hassle. Just do it. And I think it's only like an extra $50 or something like that. It's totally worth it. Because if you ever change your mind, boom, it's right there. You can always put a red dot on it. Me, I made that mistake. I did not get an MOS. So eventually I probably will have to get this thing milled, but we'll see. Another thing for customization is something that I think is really cool. And so any Glock that is a medium frame that shoots the same caliber as this, so 9mm for instance, you can swap the slides, which I think is so cool. Take this guy down real quick. But hey, better than that ATF weapons expert, huh? But yeah, you can swap the slides, which I think is really cool because you can get something like this. You know, and you can always play around with it, like you can reverse them and get something like that, which I think is really cool. Last but not least, the 5th reason I have is versatility. You can use the 19 for concealed carry, you can use it for home defense, or you can just use it for at the range. And that's what's so cool about this gun, and that's honestly why I got it in the first place for my first handgun. I concealed carried this for, I don't know, probably close to 2 years, and I never had a problem with it. It is a medium frame Glock, as I said before, but honestly, that does not get in the way. It's very comfortable in my waistband. I've never had a problem. And as far as home defense goes, this is an excellent choice. For all the flashlights you can get on this, for different attachments, everything like that, I personally use this as home defense. I also use a couple other of my Glocks for home defense, but this is definitely up there for one of the top guns I recommend for home defense. All right, YouTube, that was my recommendation for someone's first handgun. I upload every weekend, so if you didn't see my last video, go check that out. It was pretty cool. We shot some stuff. Yeah, this is for the love of Glock, and I'll catch you next time.